welcome back to Create with Christina. If you've been following along, I am on a mission to organize my craft room and make it more functional. So in part one, I showed you how to get started by assessing what you have and begin grouping items. You start putting them together and figuring out what storage solutions you need, what do you have, where are you going to put everything, and get started. So that's really what this next step is about. Storage, storage, storage. So I already made that tiered shelf out of Dollar Tree items to hold my paint. It turned out super cute, and I'm pretty much going to make one for every room if I can find the supplies, but that's a whole other story. So today we are going to make another little storage shelf, again out of mostly Dollar Tree items, and it's going to be something that can store some more of my beads. These wood craft squares are really cool, and I was thinking of putting them in one of these little drawer boxes. If you missed part one with how to make the tiered shelf that I'm using to hold my paint, you can always go back and watch that at any time. There's a lot of good tips to go ahead and just get started. This is really the middle stage where we are just finding storage solutions, updating some of what we have, crafting some new items, and then after this, I do have some shelves that I want to put up behind me here to display some other things, make a little more storage. So stay tuned after we make this shelf. I'm going to go over a few more ideas with you and show you how to move on to the next step, which is figuring out what doesn't belong in this space.
Okay, let's create another storage shelf. So I use these little wood crates from Dollar Tree, along with two of these wood storage drawers. And they come with the little hearts on the outside, but I'm going to flip them over and put these little wood craft cubes on there as handles, using a black chalk paint, mixing it with the blue acrylic, some Mod Podge, some wood glue, paintbrushes, of course, and these little craft clips that are good to keep the wood tight together while you're letting everything dry. I'm going to start by mixing the paint. I started with the non-dominant color, the blue, and then I'm slowly adding in the black. You don't want to start with too much black too quick. It's always easier to make it more dark than it is to make it lighter. And I'm just painting these wood cubes for the handles. Those are going to be dark blue because the interior drawer for the shelf is going to be the dark blue as well. And again, this doesn't really have to be perfect because the inside of the drawer is mostly going to be unseen, but I wanted it to look nice when I open it up. I didn't want it to look unfinished. Handy dandy hair dryer to let that dry a little quicker so I could set it flat and kind of keep painting the inside of it. And on to the next one. Alright, so now we're going to do the exterior part of the drawer just with the black chalk paint. And again, the chalk paint covers really well. You don't even need to do a second coat. You certainly could. I went back over and found some spots that needed some touch-ups. Just painting on the inside, getting that all touched up nicely. Alright, get this second drawer painted. All right, and on to the wood crates. We're doing that in that same black chalk paint. Overall, this was a fairly simple project, just like the last shelf. It's very beginner friendly. It's really the painting that takes the most time. It's pretty tedious, and you do have to let some things dry. So I did go in with a little bit of the glossy Mod Podge on the bottom of the interior drawer there. I just kind of wanted to seal it off. If I have any beads in there, I didn't want to risk the paint kind of coming off on there. That's an optional step, but they have that glossy Mod Podge sealer at Dollar Tree, $1, so it's definitely worth it. And I had this little wood home sign from Dollar Tree. So I just kind of painted that as a little added bonus decor. Alright, and then we're going to use this shelf liner. Same shelf liner I used on the paint shelf. Again, I got it at Dollar Tree a long time ago. It lasts forever if you're just using little bits of it. I've kept the scraps over the years. So I'm just roughly fitting it. You could certainly take a pen and kind of trace out the exact size you need. I'm just putting a little regular Mod Podge down so I can keep the shelf liner glued down in place. And again, shelf liner is probably also optional. I mean, you could leave it as is, but again, I figured I had extra and I like to reuse things. So we're going to take these little handles, kind of get it lined up in the center there, and glue it on. Used a little wood glue on the sides just to reinforce it. And another tip I found is if you have a little bit of the clear glue kind of sticking out, you can just go back in with a little paint and kind of touch that up and blend it all in. And I had some leftover beads from another project, so I just kind of glued that on the little home sign real quick. Alright, time to put it together. So I'm first just lining it up how I want it, because it will stick down real quick, so you really want to be sure of where you're putting it. I put the hot glue down, pushed it together, and put some of those clips on there to keep it tight while it dries. Then I went in with some wood glue along some of the crevices, just give it some more extra reinforcement. You can kind of wipe some of the excess off with a rag. Okay, and the last shelf in place here. I'm going to set that right on the top and glue it down. Get everything nice and tight. More little wood glue in the back there. Finishing touches, just painting the back of it black. That's pretty much it. It's time to put it together. You have a fully functioning 2 drawers and 2 little shelves. I did not glue that home sign down so I could move it. It's pretty sturdy. It works out really well.
So as you can see, my craft room has already undergone quite a few changes. I do finally have a desk of my own that I can use as my workspace. That's been really nice to spread out when I'm doing my videos. And then of course we did just finish this project up, which I'm pretty excited about. This I just kind of painted as a little extra decor to put on top, but essentially I took two little crate boxes from Dollar Tree and I glued those onto the little wooden storage drawers, and I turned them inside out. This is normally how they're supposed to go in, but I'm going to use it this way, and I glued one of the craft squares on the front there so you can easily open them up, and I just thought that that would be a really cute addition. I picked up some of these cups with lids because I really like to mix paint, and I figured if I ended up with too much, I needed to store it and didn't want to waste it, I could use these. They have like the little lids, which has been really cool to use that. And so I was thinking of kind of using it for storage, just little items like that. So that's really what this step is all about: storage, storage, storage. So like I said in the beginning of the video here, in part one, we had worked on just assessing everything, grouping some items, figuring out what it was that we needed, what items you wanted to put where, whether you're doing your office, maybe you have a lot of paper clips, safety pins, pens, pencils, anything to that effect. A lot of these tips here can transfer really easily over to really any space: office, bedroom, bathroom, laundry room, anything you can think of. So again, if you missed part one, definitely check that out. This shelf is something that I had made, and you can watch how I did that and what items I used. I'm using that to store my paint, because that was kind of where I started. I was thinking, all right, I need a shelf to store some paint. I have a lot of beads, pearls, embellishments for my crafts, so I knew that I needed a couple containers for that. So since we last left off, I did a couple of little embellishments, just basically jazzing up a couple containers that I already had. I was trying to, assess, what do I have, what can I reuse, do I need to go to a store and buy some things? So, similarly on your end, if you want to craft something up, or if you just want to go buy something, again, Dollar Tree has some really good storage options. This was a little craft jar that I had got there to hold some embellishments. So basically just kind of, working with what you have, mixing in maybe some new stuff, maybe crafting some stuff up, getting really creative about what you have. And this was another little project I had worked on. You can see this one on my blog more in depth if you want to see exactly how I made this, but it is a glue gun holder. So even though they have these little feet on here, I find that my glue gun was always tipping over, and sometimes the glue kind of leaks out of the tip. I found that this was a really cool idea to have a holder at my workstation, holds all my little glue sticks. So that was just kind of a little bonus craft that I threw in there. And this looks really funny, but it's really cool if you use hot glue a lot. It's a glue cleaner. So I got it at Dollar Tree. It basically just kind of feels like rubber, and if you get all those little glue strings all over, you can kind of clean it right up. So pretty cool little stuff that you can find and do. So always ways to, get creative. And then really that brings us in, to the next step, which is to figure out what doesn't belong. So it's going to make it really easy when you go to get to the final step, which is organizing and setting everything up. If you already clear out the items that don't belong and things that are taking up space unnecessarily, then when you go to put everything away, it's all free space for the items that you actually want there. So I have some lotions and some hair accessories here. I was kind of using it as a vanity, but it doesn't belong now. This is my craft area. I'm dedicating it solely to craft materials and supplies, so this type of stuff needs to go. So I'm just going to kind of start piling some of that up. So already we're making a lot more room. There's a lot more space here. I have set some items aside, which obviously is going to make you realize that you're gonna have to find somewhere to put these items, which again, that's okay. You know, this is something that you can do in multiple spaces, multiple areas. You may have to reorganize another closet or another area to kind of put these items, which that's gonna be my next move. You know, I'll work that out on the back end, but right now just kind of taking it one room and one area at a time. So yeah, I hope you stay tuned with me. I hope you've been enjoying the tips and tricks so far. Let me know what you think. I'm really happy with the way this shelf turned out here. I hope that you guys enjoy it too. Definitely let me know if you plan to make anything or have been inspired by any of these ideas. Stay tuned for the final episode in this series where we wrap everything up. We're going to organize, set up, and we'll do a final reveal. Thanks for joining.